75 degrees. And this morning on KRIM's Community Spotlight, talking about Green Valley Water. And they have, another interesting, as they always do, a lot of different things going on all the time, but kind of a milestone of sorts, I think, taking place right now that we want to find out a little bit more about. And Green Valley Water used to be the Northern Gila County Sanitary District, just in case you're not familiar with the name change. But with us, their district manager, Garrett Goldman, and to tell us a little bit about this. And what you have going on right now is what started about 25 years ago, right?
Yeah, it started 25 years ago with the development of Chaparral Pines. And the whole Chaparral Pines area, so as you top over the hill like you're heading down the Star Valley, that does not flow gravity to our treatment plant.
Right.
So we had to install a series of lift stations, which are just pumps and vaults to push the flow up over the hill, so then it could flow gravity down to the treatment plant.
And so, these pumps, this services what areas?
It services Chaparral Pines, the Rim, Highlands at the Rim, and pretty much the whole Tyler Parkway corridor up to Underwood Lane.
Wow, interesting. And so, without this pump, obviously, as you say, the stuff wouldn't flow downhill. And so this the pumps have been there, operational though for 25 years.
25 years. We, the Chaparral Pines Lift Station number 3, which is one we're working on, actually became active in 1996.
Right. Wow. And so what's happening now? Is this a matter of that stuff's old and antiquated or worn out and having to be replaced, or what are you up to?
It's a combination of that. When you design something like this, generally it has about a 20-year lifespan. We got 25 years out of it. It was time to replace the equipment in it. And then also some of the technologies that were used back in 1996 no longer worked very well with the habits of people today. So the amount of sanitary wipes that are actually being used in the system, and I heard a quote, this has been a couple of years ago, that more sanitary wipes are sold for non-baby purposes now than for baby purposes.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah, so unfortunately those hit the sewer system. They should not be in the sewer, but getting people to change their habits is difficult.
Sure.
On that, they were causing major issues. A lot of call-outs with our on-call personnel having to respond to plugged priming tubes and pumps in the middle of the night. So the new lift station will hopefully eliminate all of that.
So, and prior to this new lift station going in, they were having to just manually go in and unclog this stuff.
Yeah, and fortunately the way it was designed previously was everything was above ground, so you were able to not have to climb down in the hole to do this, but still it required personnel to respond, to go out there, get it unplugged, make sure it's still running, and that takes time and ultimately money.
And so, Chris Higgins and I were treated to a tour of a Green Valley Water plant out there, west of the golf course here a month or so ago. And it's an amazing facility if you've never been out there. I know you offer tours out there for anyone that's interested in taking a look, and the science behind it is really pretty fascinating. But something as simple as these sanitary wipes really kind of throws a curveball into the whole thing.
It does. It affects everything from the time it leaves your toilet and goes into the collection system all the way to the tail end of the treatment plant.
And that's what we're here to do today, is address the bottom line. And the bottom line here is that this new lift station now is already operational?
We are in the testing phase of it right now.
Right.
So it has been operational for about a week and a half.
Now you mentioned, prior to going on the air today, you mentioned some numbers about how much stuff this pump pumps in the course of a day. And I have to say, I found it kind of astounding.
Yeah. So in the first week of it being operational, in the testing phase here, we pumped over 750,000 gallons of sewage from that corridor, that Tyler Parkway corridor out there.
And now, just was this a matter of just switching out the pumps and stuff? Is that the base? Is it a redesign or what?
This one is a redesign. We actually had a really unique situation where we had enough room to be able to build a brand new lift station right next to the old lift station. and keep the old lift station operational while we were constructing the new one. And then it was a matter of twisting 3 valves and we could convert over to the new lift station. Saved a tremendous amount of money doing that, because if you had to take the old one out of service while you were reconstructing it, you would have had to do a pump bypass. And that is not cheap. This project's been going now for almost 7 months. Wow. And we would have had to bypass that entire time.
Wow. And that again, that serves a pretty significant area out there. Chaparral Pines, the Rim Club, and all the associated stuff around there. So it's and that you know, you were involved in this 25 years ago when it first was put together.
Yes, it's not very often that you get the chance to come back on a project that you did. 25 years ago, as a brand new engineer, this was one of the first projects that I was involved in civil engineering. Wow. And so I look at it now, I walk out on site, and I think all of us with experience do this, is you're like, what was I thinking? Right, at that point. So it's really kind of neat to be able to come back and to say, okay, we know that this didn't quite work like we thought it would, and now we're gonna upgrade it, and we're gonna make it to the best that we can today.
Hindsight's always 20/20.
It is.
But it has to be interesting though. I mean, 25 years later to revisit it all over again, it's got to be kind of gratifying in different ways.
It is. Yeah, it definitely is. And it helped a lot in the design of the lift station, because I was involved in that pretty heavily. And understanding what we did back then and how we can make it better today. So
now, was the back then, was that a pretty much a state-of-the-art bit of technology that, you know, wasn't that terribly old?
Yeah, it was state-of-the-art when it was put in, but a lot's changed over 25 years.
Well, so. Yeah, like everything. And so, and to begin with, you know, I remember when I remember before Chap Pines and the Rim Club went in. That's a chunk of woods out there that I used to frequent quite a bit, but. There's been more and more infill, you know, property sold and things like that. So I would imagine the demand is significantly higher now than it was 25 years ago too.
Yes, the original lift station was designed to be able to be added onto as the area developed. The new lift station that we have, we will not need to upgrade that lift station as development occurs in that corridor now.
Wow, very cool. Now, as far as this particular lift station, you have a special event coming up on October 1st that has specifically to do with this.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a ribbon cutting out there with our board of directors, and this is a fairly big investment for us. It is coming out of what we call the Facilities Equipment Replacement Reserve Fund, and that's a fund that we actually maintain to be able to upgrade existing facilities so that they will work for not just a couple years down the road, but for generations to come.
Right, keep everything flowing. That makes sense. And now you're going to have a big ribbon cutting?
We are going to have a ribbon cutting on October 1st out there.
And is that, I mean, everybody and their brother showing up to that, or how are you publicizing that?
We're not really publicizing that. It's going to be mostly for the board of directors, but if people do want to show up, parking's a little bit limited out there.
Right.
We welcome you to come out.
But this is a big milestone.
It is a big milestone for us.
Very interesting. Now, I also understand that your administrative offices are going to be closed this coming weekend, right?
Yes. Now that's another big project that we have going on.
What's that?
Our billing software, we are actually upgrading that. The existing billing software that we have is about 20 years old.
And when it comes to software, talk about antiquated. I mean, how many people are using 20-year-old software on much of anything?
Yeah, you have to know how to program in DOS.
Oh yeah, I remember those days.
Yes, on that. So this has been about a year-long project, and we're going to be going live with that new software on Monday the 27th.
Oh, wow.
So as part of the transition period, we are going to be closing the office on Friday the 24th and Monday the 27th to facilitate switching over to the new software.
Is there, what different will be noticed by your customers?
Well, we will have an increased or more sophisticated customer portal. Right now, our customer portal, you can't get very much information about your account. You can't change anything, email addresses, phone numbers, that kind of stuff. The new customer portal will allow you to do that. And it will also give you history, it will show you payment history, so there's going to be a lot more information available, a lot easier to navigate than what we have right now.
Sounds good. Now, I want to go back and talk for a second about the tour that you offered us here recently. That plant out there west of the golf course, I remember back, a million years ago. I mean, that was very much state of the art, and it looks like it still is today.
Well, it has seen a lot of upgrades over the what was put in 1983,
Right.
The current version of it, and we're continually doing stuff on it, keeping up with technology.
Fascinating. Between the water department with the town and the sanitary district, or the Green Valley Water Company, I mean, there is some amazing science and technology going on, and I think unless someone goes out to the plant, you might not realize just how intriguing it is. One of the things that I was really blessed by when I was out there was the fact that you're not really using those sludge beds anymore to dry solids out.
No, we have changed technologies on that.
Right. It's a lot less aromatic out in that area than it used to be.
If you remember back in the mid-'80s when you drove down Dalbaby Road, you had to plug your nose.
Oh yeah.
That no longer is the case. Again, upgraded technology, we have a different way of getting rid of the sludge.
Right. And roughly when it comes to, I mean, Payson, officially we've got a population of about 16,000 people. What's the daily average flow in and out of the sewage treatment plant?
So right now we see about 1 million gallons a day, give or take a little bit. When it rains, we see a little bit more coming into the system, but 1 million gallons a day during dry weather.
And from the time the raw sewage comes to you until you're pumping out nice clean water to Green Valley Park, how long does that process take?
About 24 hours.
Just 24 hours. Yeah. And it's not just filters that are filtering stuff out. There's a lot of chemistry involved.
Biology.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, a lot of biology. We are a biological plant. We don't use any chemicals in the treatment process itself. So we call ourselves bacteria ranchers.
Oh, there you go.
Because the bacteria in the system actually do the work. They're the ones that clean the water so that it can be delivered back up to Green Valley.
And it's amazing that all can take place in 24 hours.
Right.
So, I mean, you've got you have a vast number of bugs.
At any given time, we're carrying about 50,000 pounds of bugs.
Wow.
In the treatment system.
And of course, we're talking microscopic stuff here.
Yes.
But fascinating. Now, are there other treatment plants like this around Arizona?
Oh yeah, pretty much every treatment plant that you see today is going to be some version of what we have. There's no two treatment plants that are the same, but they use the same basic methodology to clean the water.
How about one of the things that I thought at least back in the day originally that it was profoundly intriguing that we could even be taking this water and pumping it back down into aquifers and storing it underground, and obviously the water is clean enough to have that all make perfect sense. That wasn't being done in too many places before this plant went in, was it?
No, that wasn't. The technology had not gotten there at that point. And in fact, we don't actually directly discharge back into the aquifer. We do a passive discharge through Green Valley Lake, so whatever naturally percolates into the ground there,
Right.
but it does find its way back into the aquifer.
And do they? I'm assuming, and of course you know what they say about that, but I'm assuming that they're keeping track of the water department or whomever keeping track of the static water level of these aquifers.
Yeah, the water department has a sophisticated system also, and part of that is that they do keep track of the wells.
I had also a wonderful opportunity to get a tour of the that new plant out there by Mesa del Caballo. Buzz Walker gave me a tour in there, and that's an amazing bit of science out there as well.
Yes, it is.
People owe it to themselves to learn more about this stuff, because it's certainly making a big difference. With now, with other facilities like Green Valley Water, when it comes to sewage treatment, are most everyone now doing these same kind of things like we do with Green Valley Lake, as far as the reused effluent going into a lake and recharging aquifers, or is that still kind of a not widely done approach?
Well, it is getting more and more popular. Water is an asset.
Sure.
And just to release it to go down the stream, that doesn't do your customer base any good.
Mm-hmm.
So like what we do, we deliver water back up to Green Valley Lakes, and then from Green Valley Lakes, we pump that water to our reuse customers. So the golf courses, all three of them, you get watered with our water.
And the high school ball fields.
High school ball fields all are watered with our water.
It makes so much sense, especially with the golf courses and with the ball fields. I don't recall the numbers off the top of my head, but here in Arizona, where it gets really warm, there's a lot of transvaporation that happens where you're losing an awful lot of water just in the lawn itself. So, golly, why not use reused effluent? It seems like a perfect solution.
Well, every drop of reuse water that's put on the fields or the golf courses is one less drop that has to come out of the ground.
Makes sense. And so now, all in all, with the plant out here west of town, in rough numbers, what kind of money is involved in that plant? Because I have a feeling it's going to be an astounding number.
Well, we, on our books, right now, we have about $65 million of assets on the books.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yes.
And most of that's been since the early '80s.
Yes. Yep.
But also, as you mentioned earlier, you folks are always keeping everything maintained and looking ahead, not waiting for things to break down, but hopefully addressing that proactively.
Well, it's a lot less money to address it proactively than it is reactively.
Now, when it comes to the Green Valley Lakes, are there different times of year where that's more of a challenge as far as algae growth or different things? I mean, are there other types of things like that you have to contend with?
Well, so we're under permit by ADQ, and we have very strict requirements what we can deliver up to Green Valley Lakes. Once it hits the lakes, it becomes the water department's water at that point. So they maintain it, the water quality there. We do work with them closely to make sure that we're not putting excess nutrients in the water that would promote algae growth. And but it's a continual, during the summer months, they have to stay on top of it.
And so with the fact that there's fish in the lakes and stuff like that, then even excuse me, on your discharge, you even have to be looking at the pH level of the water and things like that.
Yeah, we're pH level, nutrient levels, turbidity, which is how cloudy the water is. We have pretty tight restrictions on that.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually just went through a review with ADEQ regarding our water going to the lakes, and there were no issues at all with them.
Beautiful. Wow. I'm intrigued because there's so much science going on there that it's easy for people just not to think about what all's going on down there, but it's really pretty remarkable, and especially being able to reuse it in a place like Arizona where water is a pretty finite resource. To be sitting here in Payson and feel like we've got not only the water from up on top of the rim from the C.C. Cregan Reservoir, but also this reuse thing. I mean, it's a pretty progressive focus for just a small rural town.
Well, I would put both our system and the town of Payson's water department system up against any other system in the state.
Wow.
Both in complexity and also how well run they are.
Mm-hmm. About how many people work out at the plant?
We have 24.
Yeah. And so you have people there 24 hours a day?
No.
Hopefully not anyway.
Well, and again, thanks to technology, we are staffed from about 6 in the morning until 4:30 in the afternoon, right. 7 days a week. But in those after hours times, the SCADA system, which is our computer system that monitors everything, you have limits put in there. And if something goes out of limit, it makes a phone call to a person on call, and then they address it.
Very interesting. And I know I've known a number of folks that have worked out there in the past, and you have a lot of people that have been there for quite a while.
Yeah.
You find the right people, you hang on to them.
Yeah, it's a good place to work. We have one gentleman that's been there for 37 years.
He's probably starting to get the hang of things.
Yeah, he's getting there.
Wow. Now, again, if you have an interest in taking a tour of the plant, I think you'll find it fascinating. I know I did. How do people get with you to be able to do something like that?
Well, on our website, greenvalleywater.org, there's a link there to take a tour. We have regularly scheduled tours. I think they're on the second Wednesday of every month, first or second. But if that doesn't work for you, call the office and we will set up a tour time that does work for you.
And tours last typically about how long?
About an hour and a half to 2 hours. Depends on how many questions you ask.
There's a bunch of things that are interesting to find out about there. Now prior to the early '80s, when everything kind of changed here, what was Payson doing then as far as sewage treatment?
Well, it was originally called the Payson Sanitary District. It was
Right.
established in 1965.
65.
And when you look back on the original documents, it was by a petition of the majority of the residents at that time for the health of the community, because it was all on septic systems.
Mm-hmm.
And the first actual treatment plant and then collection system was constructed in the early 70s. And then that quickly growth came and it overwhelmed the treatment plant. And so the current technology was instituted in 1983.
When I first moved here in '81, there was a population of about 5,000, and now we're up to 16,000. So just to be able to ride that wave, so to speak, had to be quite a task.
Yeah.
That's an awful lot of growth in a relatively short period of time.
It is, but we do maintain a master plan of our entire boundary,
Mhm.
and so we're always looking out to the future. We do not want to be the bottleneck
Right.
for development or growth. So right now our plant is actually built to take the entire development of our boundaries as they exist today.
Interesting. And again, if you want to find out more, you can just go online to greenvalleywater.org, and we'll have more updates for you on what's going on. What's the date again? October 1st, Friday, October 1st. I know we'll be out there to get a little bit of some photos and video of the ribbon cutting, but how long have you been working on this new lift station?
This has been about a 2-year project.
Wow.
From design to completion of construction.
And I'm just curious when it comes to that, because I think that's the big point. How out of those 2 years, how much of that was spent in design?
Well, in like really intense design, it was about a 6-month project.
Right.
And then we started talking about it 2 years ago, got preliminary designs done, cost estimates, and then we went into final design about this time last year.
And then on the actual construction of that, is that something that you sub out to a company that specializes in it, or you do that in-house?
No, we definitely sub that out. We go out to public bid,
Right.
get the best bid that we can with a qualified contractor, and then they do the work, which we oversee.
That's just amazing stuff. I think, again, if you're even remotely interested, you owe it to yourself to go out there and talk to the folks at the Green Valley Water, and that it's an amazing plant, and it's just some fantastic science that has grown right along with Payson. You guys are doing a great job.
Well, thank you.
You bet. Thank you for being here this morning. We appreciate it, and we'll have more for you on this as we get a little closer to October 1st as well. And don't forget as well, I want to repeat one more time that Green Valley Water's offices will be closed this Friday through next Monday as they put in that new computer system. So good luck with all that too.
Thank you.
That's always a fun challenge.
Yes, it is.
I use the word fun there in place of other words that probably make more sense. Anyway, once again, I want to say thanks to the district manager, Garrett Goldman from Green Valley Water, and I want to appreciate you and thank you for tuning in and listening this morning to Community Spotlight on KRIM. Going to get you back to more of your favorite music. Have some tunes coming up from Paul Simon, Albert Hammond, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Sheryl Crow, and a whole bunch more. But first, a quick look at Rib Country weather. Just like that.
Wow.